Hi, and welcome to Hanaz Writers Podcasts. My name's Charlotte, and I work as a Year 2 teacher in a primary school in London. If you haven't heard any podcasts from Hanaz Writers before, then have a listen on their YouTube and Spotify channels. You can search for them on both websites, and you can start listening to the podcasts that they have available. Hi, and in this podcast, I'm going to be talking about National Poetry Month. World Book Day happened in March, and now we're moving into the month of April. And this month is known as National Poetry Month. So I'm going to talk about all things poetry. This month is sometimes referred to as NaPoWriMo, which means National Poetry Writing Month. And it's similar to how November is called NaNoWriMo, which means National Novel Writing Month. The National Poetry Month celebrates and recognizes the importance of poetry and poets in all cultures. The Academy of American Poets started the event in 1996, and their website, poets.org, helps to show you how you can participate during this month. And it's actually very easy. So when you go onto the website, you can sign up to the website and become a member. And they will then send you a copy of American Poets, which is their book of different poems from American poets. And they'll also send you up and coming poems every day from lots of different poets. And they'll send you one once a day throughout the year. So if you want to get your daily fix of some poetry and read some up and coming poems, then I would say log on to this website and sign up to them. It is free, I think, to become a member. So you can do that, and then you'll get a poem every day. So the Academy of American Poets picked a day in April where you can kind of share a poem with others. It's called Poem in Your Pocket Day. And this was initiated in April 2002 by the office in the mayor in New York City. Now, last year in 2024, this day took place on the 18th of April. I checked, but they haven't yet confirmed what day that it will take place this year. It might still be the 18th of April in 2025. So if you're signed up to the website, you might get a notification or an email about it. But be on the lookout if you're interested and you haven't signed up to the website, poets.org. So keep an eye out for NaPoWriMo, National Poetry Writing Month. And yeah, keep an eye out, listen out for any competitions or I think they called it Poem in Your Pocket Day. So the Poem in Your Pocket Day is a day when you select a poem and then you share that poem on social media. You use the hashtag pocket poem and you record yourself saying the poem. You can read it in any way that you like, or you can pick a poem from their own bank of poetry. So they'll offer you different poems that you can choose from. Or if you don't want to read it or record yourself doing the poem, then you can just make a copy of it, print it out. You can add an image if you want from the poem, draw around the poem, make it a nice kind of design. Or you can read the poem and draw something that inspired you from it. So maybe the poem was about different weather types. Maybe it was about butterflies, or the poem's about people, or a day, or something fun, or something silly. And if that inspires you to draw something about it, to recreate the image, or maybe it inspired you to just draw something, anything, then you can draw it with the poem and then print it, or you can share your creation by taking a picture, putting it on social media with the hashtag pocket poem. There are other ways to celebrate poetry on this day as well, and their website has a huge page about it. They've even got pages for poems for kids as well. So if you want to help your children get involved in poetry, or you want them to read different poems, or they're just interested in them, they offer a wide range of poetry for them. Lots of children get different poems. They can read about lots of different topics as well. So when you go onto the website, look onto the kids' poetry page, And they actually offer you lots of different topics that your children might be interested in. So they can click on a topic and then find a poem by someone and, just read it. Or they could just peruse and read what they want. They also hold a virtual gala called Poetry and the Creative Mind. And this year it takes place on April the 24th, 2025. Now, this day is when they have a virtual broadcast and they feature legendary actors or artists. They ask dancers and musicians or people who are of notable figure from the public. And they get them to read their own favourite poems, or they get them to read a poem that's up and current, or one that really is just special to that person. And then the viewers, you guys can just join in virtually. You can join, I'm guessing, through Zoom or Microsoft Teams or whatever is the medium that they stream their broadcast on. And you can join in, you can listen with them and listen to them read their poem. Another thing that they have is a page called Dear Poet, and this allows students from grades 5 to 12 to write letters in response to poems that have been written and read by award-winning poets. So the virtual gala has had many people reading poems, and they offer this Dear Poet page to allow children and teenagers from 5 to 12 to write to the author. And I think that's quite a lovely thing to do. If a child has been inspired by a poem, they get a chance to write to that person and say, "Oh, I really loved your poem. It inspired me to," and it's just nice for them to give feedback to the poets as well. And it's nice for the poets to have that feedback and then they can read through them as well. So I think it's a really wonderful kind of community-based website, especially around poetry. Now, there are also many other different ways to celebrate poetry and poets throughout the month. The website even tried to get teachers and librarians involved. They get the teachers and librarians involved by offering competitions. They tried to hold the poetry day, get teachers to ask for poets to come into into their schools and then read their own poems to people. And librarians as well. So in libraries, again, with the competitions aspect of the day, they might even get librarians to hold readings for poets or people, just people who want to write their own poem and then read it out to others. They also try to get the media involved by posting articles about poetry in them, so newspapers, magazines, and online media outlets. They really try to get their message out there. Now, if you want to get involved, of course, then you don't have to sign up to the website, but you can get involved by reading different types of poems yourself during April. You can also talk about your favourite poems and poets of others. And you can just share your favourite poems online, post it on Facebook, Twitter, um, Instagram, Snapchat, maybe even on TikTok. You could do a reading through TikTok and then post that up. And you just record yourself reading the poem aloud and then post your video on your social media page. And again, it's all just trying to send the message of poetry and how great poems are and just how wonderful it is to be a poet and a writer. And also, it even could get you and your kids involved to become your own poet. Do your own writing, try your own hand at becoming a poet, write your own poems. If you want to, why not just try writing your own poems? And you can then choose how you want to share your work with others. If you don't want to read your poem out loud, write one and then make a display of it like we did, like explained earlier on. Take a picture, share it with others. You can, of course, support your local poets as well. Read their poems, borrow their books from the library, or you can download the poem books through various apps. If you look on maybe Apple or Kindle, I'm not sure, maybe Google as well, Google Apps, there might be an application where you can just download poetry, or if you've got a book reading app, like in Goodreads or something, look for poems on there and then see if you can download the books and find them and then get to reading them because they're meant to be read. You can even go to your local bookstore and buy poetry books there. Or you can go to a reading from a local poet. So have a look around. Maybe there's a local poet who's doing a reading somewhere close by, or they could be doing it at their local library, or they could be doing it in a bar or a pub, wherever they want to get involved. If you're part of a school, then maybe talk to your teachers, especially if they're children and parents. If you are a teacher yourself, maybe talk to your colleagues and other teachers and talk about National Poetry Writing Month for April. Maybe you can ask, what could you do? What can you do to help support the day or the month, even? How can you get children involved? Maybe they can write their own poems. Pick that pocket poem your pocket day and get involved. Kids love dressing up. We just had World Book Day and they love dressing up for that. And then they get to read a book. They get to read their poems. They could maybe even do a performance of their poems as well. Kids love performing things, and you can get them to read a poem together, work out some actions for the poem, and then present the poem to their classmates, present the poem to their school year as well. Especially if you want the whole school to get involved. Maybe you can have a whole production where each year group performs a poem to each other. That might be nice. And then you can also just share your favourite poets with each other. Talk to them. What's your favourite poem? What's your favourite poet? Or you can ask them if you can have a school day, just maybe the pocket poem in your pocket day, and just celebrate that poem day in April. And there's just so many ways that you can get involved and be creative about it. So just before I finish this podcast, I would just like to say, if you are taking part in National Poetry Writing Month, enjoy it. If you're a budding poet, get writing. Start sharing your work with others. This month is a wonderful way to get your work out there. Maybe if you're really inspired, you could write one poem a day and then you can share it every single day. So if someone is maybe following you on Instagram or Facebook or your social media accounts, whichever one, post your poem up there and inspire others as well. They might be inspired to do a drawing on your piece, or they might be inspired to write their own poem. Well, that's it for this podcast, and I really hope that you've enjoyed it. If you'd like to listen to more, then like and subscribe to Hanaz Writers YouTube and Spotify channel. And if you're interested in becoming a published author, then you can visit Hanaz Writers website and sign up. And then just follow the online instructions and you'll be publishing in no time. So thank you for your listening, and until next time, bye!